Hello, everyone. After last week and the coronavirus-led market decline, most of you are either expecting or wondering when would you hear from me on the matter. 3 of the top 5 nominal down days in history took place last week. Today being Monday was the biggest up day in history. Neither the drop nor the upside was on a percentage basis, just nominal. So to sort of temper some of that concern or enthusiasm, there certainly have been much larger up days on a percentage basis or down days. But still pretty impressive, if you want to call it that, 3 of the 5 worst nominal days in 1 week. As always, I'd like to start with a caveat. I do not have a crystal ball. And no one has asked me to head up the CDC or apply for the Surgeon General's office. That being said, my intent today is to share some data and reflect what it has meant to the market and provide insights as to what steps we suggest with our clients. I'm sure many of you are doing some reading and data gathering of your own right now, but here is some information that I'm using to help make decisions at home and with my responsibility to you all. It appears somewhere near 80% of individuals that are becoming infected are over the age of 60. And some of the data coming through is indicating and implying that maybe 75% of the deaths are of those who have known pre-existing conditions, either to the lung or cardio related. One number scientists use to measure how a disease spreads through a population is the basic reproduction number, otherwise known as R0. This number tells us how infectious a disease is based on the average of how many people one person infects on average. Ebola has an R0, for example, of 2. Measles, 15. Coronavirus seems to maybe have an R0 as of today, measuring around 2.5. Obviously not nearly as infectious as, say, the measles. In regards to case fatality rates, also known as CFR, rabies, for example, has a 99% if left untreated. Smallpox has a 30%. The flu, on the other hand, although 30,000 people die each year, has a CFR way below 0.5%. Although it's too early to know for sure, some estimates are implying, and those that are making guesstimates, that we're looking at maybe below a 1.5, if not below a 1% for the coronavirus. Obviously, we don't know for certain at this point. The last I heard about an estimate on a vaccine is that it could be as much as 2 years before we get there. This means as the temperatures warm, the rate of infections may drop, but fall could very well be a whole new season likely to potentially repeat itself. Almost certainly, infections in the US will increase likely significantly, maybe the next couple of weeks over 1,000. The good news, though, is there's expected to be capability to run as much as 20,000 tests a week within the next 2 weeks. So obviously, after the CDC had the magnificent slip up of having tests that did not work, it seems to be progressing pretty nicely now. All right, now to the markets and your investments. I made a very serious exercise, and I took on at the end of 2017 and into 2018 to discuss risk with all clients. When I say discuss, in most instances, it was rediscuss. What do we know about the past 10 years? The past 10 years, the stock market went up significantly. And what do we also know? We're all 10 years older than we were, and that much closer to needing to live off our invested assets. Those 2 factors are the definition of when to lower exposure to the stock market. If you didn't then, it is unlikely to be prudent to do such today. To try to predict where the market is going from here, we have 2 variables you need to make guesstimates on. One, the long-term impact of the coronavirus and how that will impact supply chains and economic environment, economic activity, and the propensity for people to get together as groups. And the second is, who will be the president 9 months from now? With Buttigieg and Klobuchar earlier today dropping out, endorsing Biden, that certainly did not hurt the market today, if you know what I mean. I knew coming into 2020 it was going to be interesting, if not a very unique year. And the start, unfortunately, is not disappointed on that front. The variables I will need to watch close is the fear gauge and the impact of this once-in-a-lifetime event of 1% yields on 10-year Treasury bonds, and what that's going to mean on future predicted valuations. Interest rates dictate valuations almost always in a very significant way. And on top of that, my desire to populate and where to populate my clients' assets in particular sectors and asset classes off of those variables. One strategy, though, I would never stray away from is if you are younger than 50 years of age, and we're talking about retirement investments, every time the market drops like this, it is a buying opportunity. For everyone else, know that we're here always for you, and we look forward to our continued discussions. Anything, anytime. Thank you.